Greetings, geometry students. This is Dr. Heron, and we are starting our Unit 2, which all has to do with with lines and kind of what happens when lines cross and kind of some of the relationships that get formed with the angles when lines cross. So we're going to start with something that you have seen before, slope. And what's a slope useful for? Slope is useful for certain things like skiing and going down a mountain. Ski resorts, ski mountains use slope of the ground to measure the difficulty of a particular ski run. So the steeper the slope, the more difficult a hill is to ski. And these can range anywhere from a green circle to a double black diamond, where it's very, very easy versus black diamonds are going to be very, very steep. Okay, so what does slope measure? Slope is going to be the steepness of a line. Okay, so how do I find slope? Where do I get that? How do I figure that out? All right, you've seen slope before, and a slope is you are going to find 2 points on a line. So there's a point there and a point there. So how do I get from point A to point B? What do I do? Well, what I do is I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So I go down, so that's a -3. Then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I go down 3 and I go over 4. So my slope is just going to be -3 over 4. Okay, if I'm looking at a graph, that is going to be how I figure it out. Okay, if I went up, it would be positive. If I went down, it would be negative. And I'm always going to go right. Okay, I'm not starting at B and working my way back. That's going to give me a wrong answer. Okay, if I don't have a graph and I just have 2 points, I'm going to follow this formula right here. And this formula is very important. Write it down, circle it, put stars around it. That's going to be kind of the main point of today. So 2 points, y minus y, x minus x. So when I look at the lines I have here, so if I just consider, we'll just consider the solid line first, this one right here. So I've got 1, 2, and 2, 4. So going from this point to this point, I'm going to go up 1, 2 over 1. So my slope is going to be 2 over 1 or just 2. So now doing it with the formula, I've got like 1, 2, and 2, 4. So my formula is going to be 4 minus 2 over 2 minus 1, which is going to be exactly what I have up there. Okay, so they're both going to be the same. So now if I look at some of these lines, let's kind of figure out what some of these slopes are. So if I start with A, starting with A, I start here. I have a point there. I kind of follow it along. I've got a point down here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1, 2. So A is going to be -7 over 2. B is going to be, well, B is going to be pretty simple. If I start here, I go there. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1. So B is just going to be 1. C is this blue line. Well, I've got a point here and a point there. So that's going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So that'd be -4 over 2 or just -2. For D, I can just kind of pick out a point wherever I am that's on the corners. So I've got a point there and a point there. So I go up 1 over 3. So for D, that's going to be up 1 over 3. So that's just going to be 1/3. And letter E, if I start at this point right here, and I go right there, that's going to be down 2 over 5. So that's going to be -2 over 5. So that's going to be the slope of all of those lines. All right, the ones that go down are negative. The ones that go up are positive. So I've got this one, and this one. Okay, they all go down. They are all negative. That means their graphs go down. The other two positive, that means they're going to go up. So a couple different situations. So positive slope, negative slope. So if it goes up, it's positive, goes down, it's negative. Couple of special case scenarios. If I have a slope of 0, okay, a slope of 0, that means most of you have heard rise over run. A slope of 0 means I never rise and I run forever. Okay, so if I never rise and I run forever, that's going to be 0. That's going to be a horizontal line. Okay, that's going to be a horizontal line, and that's usually going to be like y equals some number. If I flip that around and I rise forever, but I never run, well, that's like dividing by 0. We can't do that. That's undefined, which is that one. And that is kind of where x is going to equal some number. Okay, so 0 slope is flat. Undefined slope is vertical. Okay, so let's do a little practice with finding some slopes here. So we're going to go 5 minus negative 2 over 2 minus negative 1. So that is going to be 7 over 3. That's my slope for that one. For this one, I'm going to go 5 minus negative 1 over 6 minus negative 2. So that'll be 6 over 8. And I would really want you to simplify that to 3/4. For this one, I'm going to go negative 2 minus a negative 5 and 1 minus 4. So that's going to be 3 over negative 3, which is negative 1. So negative 2 minus a negative 6 over 2 minus 3. So that's going to be 4 over negative 1. So that's just going to be negative 4. So now a couple situations that show up. Parallel lines, perpendicular lines. Well, if I look at parallel lines, here's all I want to do. I want to compare my slopes. So I'm going to go there and there for my points. That's going to go up 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's going to be 2 over 6 or 1/3. For the bottom, for the green line, let's see what happens. Up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be the exact same slope, and that's how I know that they're parallel. Okay, if they're parallel, they have got the same slope. Now, perpendicular is a little bit different. Okay, so if I just consider the green line, we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to be down 6 over 8. So that simplifies to 3/4. Now the blue line, if I count, I've got a point here, and it appears I have a point there. That's going to be up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. So that slope is going to be 4/3. So now, these are perpendicular. Well, how do I know they're perpendicular? For a perpendicular line, if I multiply the slopes together, and I get -1 for an answer. Okay, 4 over 4 cancels out, 3 over -3 cancels out. It's like 1 times -1, which is what I get. There's my answer. So if it multiplies to -1, sometimes also called a negative reciprocal, that tells me that they are going to be perpendicular. So a rate of change, very similar to slope. How does that work? So let's say Target's having sale paper towels, 2 p.m. They have 57 packages. At 5 p.m. they have 15 packages. What is the rate of sales per hour? So you've got from 2 to 5 p.m. and at 2 p.m. you got 57 packages, and at 5 p.m. you've got 15 packages. Kind of what is your rate of sales? Well, that's just going to be y minus y over x minus x. So that is going to be 42 divided by 3, which is going to be 14. So they're selling 14 packages per hour. So for this second one, you're traveling 275 miles. The first 100 miles took you 2 hours. So I'm going to take 100 miles divided by 2 hours. So that means I'm going 50 miles per hour. Okay, so if I've already taken 100 miles, that means I've only got 175 miles left. So if I take that divided by 50, that's going to be 3.5. So that tells me that I'm going to take another 3.5 hours to close that out, to finish that trip. Okay, so I figured out what my rate is. Then I figured out how many miles I have left, divided by my rate. That tells me how much time before I get there. Okay, so the next thing is your assignment. Please get that done. Do that in quizzes, and then we will talk soon.